Hi everyone, how are you? I know that we're back in the room again, but I thought I would still share with you a video of reading our chapter storybook, The Twits by Ronald Dahl. We're almost near the end, we're at page 46. So let's get started. The roly-poly bird to the rescue. Welcome and his family longed to escape from the cage in Mr. Twit's garden and go back to the African jungle where they came from. They hated Mr. and Mrs. Twit for making their lives so miserable. They also hated them for what they did to the birds every Tuesday and Wednesday. "Fly away, birds," they used to shout, jumping about in the cage and waving their arms. "Don't sit on that big dead tree. It's just been smeared all over with sticky glue. Go and sit somewhere else." Can you see here? There's our muggle-wump monkeys, and this here is a roly-poly bird. But these were English-speaking birds, and they didn't understand the weird African language the monkey spoke. So they took no notice and went on using the big dead tree and getting caught for Mrs. Twit's bird pie. Then one day, a truly magnificent bird flew down out of the sky and landed on the monkey cage. "Good heavens!" cried all the monkeys together. "It's the roly-poly bird! What on earth are you doing here in England, roly-poly bird?" Like the monkeys, the roly-poly bird came from Africa, and he spoke the same language as they did. "I've come for a holiday," said the roly-poly bird. "I like to travel." He fluffed his marvellous coloured feathers and looked down rather grandly at the monkeys. "For most people," he went on, "flying away on a holiday is very expensive, but I can fly anywhere in the world for nothing." "Do you know how to talk to these English birds?" Muggle-wump asked him. "Of course I do," said the roly-poly bird. "It's no good going to a country and not knowing the language." "Then we must hurry," said Muggle-wump. "Today is Tuesday, and over there you can already see the revolting Mr. Twit up the ladder painting sticky glue all over the branches of the big dead tree. This evening, when the birds come in to roost, you must warn them not to perch on the tree, or they will be made into bird pie." That evening, the roly-poly bird flew around and round the big dead tree singing, "There's sticky stuff all over the tree. If you land in the branches, you'll never get free. So fly away, stay up high, or you'll finish up for tomorrow in a hot bird pie." Our next chapter is called No Bird Pie for Mr. Twit. The next morning, when Mr. Twit came out with his huge basket to snatch all the birds from the big dead tree, there wasn't a single one on it. They were all sitting on top of the monkey cage. The roly-poly bird was there as well, and Muggle-wump and his family were inside the cage, and the whole lot of them were laughing at Mr. Twit. Can you see them there? All the birds on the cage, and there they are laughing. My goodness. Our next chapter is called Still No Bird Pie for Mr. Twit. Mr. Twit wasn't going to wait another week for his bird pie supper. He loved bird pie. It was his favourite meal. So that very same day, he went after the birds again. This time he smeared all the top bars of the monkey cage with sticky glue, as well as the branches of the big dead tree. "Now I'll get you," he said, "whichever one you sit on." There he is, putting the hug-tight glue on top of the cage. The monkeys crouched inside the cage watching all this, and later on, when the roly-poly bird came swooping in for an evening chat, they shouted, "Don't land on our cage, roly-poly bird! It's covered in sticky glue! So is the tree!" And that evening, as the sun went down and all the birds came in again to roost, the roly-poly bird flew around and around the monkey cage and the big dead tree, singing out his warning. "There's sticky stuff now on the cage and the tree. If you land on either, you'll never get free. So fly away, stay up high, or you'll finish up tomorrow in the hot bird pie." Our next chapter that we're going to read, because the other two were just very short, is called Mr. and Mrs. Twit Go Off to Buy Guns. The next morning, when Mr. Twit came out with his huge basket, not a single bird was sitting on either the monkey cage or the big dead tree. They were all perched happily on the roof of Mr. Twit's house. The roly-poly bird was up there as well, and the monkeys were in the cage, and the whole lot of them were hooting with laughter at Mr. Twit. "I'll wipe that silly laugh off your beaks," Mr. Twit screamed at the birds. "I'll get you next time, you filthy, feathery frumps. I'll wring your necks, the whole lot of you, and have you bubbling in the pot for bird pie before this day is out." "How are you going to do that?" asked Mrs. Twit, who had come outside to see what all the noise was about. "I won't have you smearing sticky glue all over the roof of our house." Mr. Twit got very excited. "I've got an idea," he cried. He didn't bother to keep his voice down because he didn't think the monkeys could understand him. "We'll both go into town right away and we'll buy a gun each," he shouted. "How's that?" "Brilliant," cried Mrs. Twit, grinning and showing her yellow teeth. "We'll buy the big shotguns that spray out 50 bullets or more with each bang." "Exactly," said Mr. Twit. "Lock up the house while I go and make sure the monkeys are safely shut away." Mr. Twit went over to the monkey cage. "Attention!" he barked in his fearsome monkey trainer voice. "Upside down, all of you, and jump to it. One on top of the other. Quick, get on with it, or you'll feel Mrs. Twit's stick across your backside." Obediently, the poor monkeys stood on their hands and clambered on top of it one another, with Mugglewump at the bottom and the smallest child at the very top. "Now stay there till we come back," Mr. Twit ordered. "Don't you dare move, and don't overbalance. When we return in 2 or 3 hours' time, I shall expect to find you all in exactly the same position as you are now. You understand?" With that, Mr. Twit marched away, Mrs. Twit went with him, and the monkeys were left alone with the birds. Here they are, stuck. They have to stay like that for 2 or 3 hours. My goodness. Well, that's the end of those 4 chapters. I hope you enjoyed them. The next one is called Mugglewump Has an Idea. I wonder what the idea might be. What do you think? I hope you enjoy these stories, and I'll see you next time for some more. Bye.